Welcome to Alive TV. I'm Khadija Ibrahim. Today, we begin with the nation still grappling with the loss of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Tributes continue to pour in from Daura, his hometown, as close associates and family members reflect on his final days. It's been just days since the passing of Nigeria's former President Muhammadu Buhari, and now his kinsmen in Daura are opening up about his final moments. According to family sources and close associates, Buhari had been in high spirits on the Saturday before his passing in a London hospital. He reportedly looked forward to returning home as his condition was said to have stabilized and plans were already underway for his discharge. But by Sunday, July 13th, everything changed. Buhari, aged 82, reportedly suffered sudden complications that led to his death in the early hours of Monday. The former president's nephew, Mamman Daura, and other family members described him as a man of routine, deeply rooted in discipline and simplicity, noting that despite his long years in public service, he never allowed power to detach him from his roots in Katsina. The presidency has not yet released the full medical report, but funeral prayers have since been held in Abuja and Daura, attended by dignitaries and world leaders. His passing closes a significant chapter in Nigeria's democratic journey, from military ruler in the 1980s to two-term elected president from 2015 to 2023. Buhari leaves behind a complex legacy, one marked by both strong anti-corruption rhetoric and deep public criticism of insecurity and economic challenges. Now to Ogun State, where public workers have commenced a massive industrial strike over 82 billion naira in unremitted pension deductions, a crisis brewing for over a decade. Labour leaders representing the Nigeria Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, and the Joint Negotiating Council issued a 72-hour ultimatum last week demanding that the state government suspend the new contributory pension scheme slated to begin this month. Their demand is clear: resolve the 17-year backlog of pension deductions or face total work stoppage. According to Labour officials, the state government has failed to remit employees' pension contributions into the designated retirement savings accounts, amounting to nearly 82 billion naira in unaccounted funds. State secretariats and public schools were under lock and key, with hundreds of workers gathering in peaceful protest across Abeokuta and Ijebu-Ode. Union leaders also accused the government of staying silent on repeated calls for transparency and negotiation. This strike, if prolonged, threatens to paralyze essential services in Ogun State and may trigger solidarity actions from other labor unions across the country, especially at a time when workers nationwide are pushing for minimum wage increases and cost of living adjustments. Meanwhile, in the political arena, a power struggle appears to be brewing in the Senate. Senator Natasha has strongly fired back at what she claims are backdoor efforts by Senate President Godswill Akpabio to challenge her legitimacy. Natasha, who represents Kogi Central, accused Akpabio of instigating moves to have her seat declared vacant, despite the Supreme Court's earlier ruling affirming her victory. She condemned the attempt as unconstitutional and a direct attack on democratic representation and female political leadership. In response, allies of the Senate president deny direct involvement, maintaining that legal actions currently in motion are the initiative of other aggrieved parties. Nonetheless, the tensions have deepened what some observers describe as widening cracks within the upper legislative chamber. On the economic front, there's a glimmer of hope for Nigeria's currency. The naira recorded a significant rebound this week, reaching its strongest position in 4 months, closing at 1,518 naira to the US dollar on the official window. Analysts attribute this surge to a combination of increased dollar inflows from crude oil sales, tighter monetary policy from the central bank, and reduced pressure from import demands. While the development signals improved investor confidence, experts warn that Nigeria's foreign exchange stability remains fragile and long-term reforms are needed to sustain any gains. Despite the gains, food prices and energy costs remain stubbornly high, keeping inflation concerns alive for ordinary citizens. And in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke has launched a bold accusation against former Minister of Interior, Rauf, alleging a covert plot to unseat him in the 2027 elections. Adeleke claims Ariboshola and unnamed political actors are already mobilizing resources and building structures to disrupt his second-term ambitions. The statement made at a PDP meeting has stirred tension among political watchers in the state. While Ariboshola has not publicly responded, his loyalists are reportedly regrouping and reactivating grassroots networks. The development sets the stage for a potential high-stakes political face-off in Osun, with familiar rivalries possibly returning to the forefront. Now to stories beyond our borders. In the United Kingdom, the BBC, one of the world's most respected broadcasters, is facing serious editorial backlash over a documentary it aired on the Gaza conflict. The film, titled How to Survive a War Zone, featured a narrator whose father, it has now been revealed, held a senior political position within the Hamas-led government in Gaza. BBC's internal review found that several producers were aware of the narrator's family ties but failed to flag it as a conflict of interest before airing the film. That omission has now sparked concern not just within the BBC but across the UK media landscape. In response, the UK's broadcasting regulator Ofcom has launched a formal investigation to determine whether the viewing public was misled. Critics say the lack of transparency undermines the BBC's reputation for impartiality, especially on matters as sensitive as Middle East conflict. The corporation has since admitted to what it's called serious editorial failures and announced sweeping reforms including new vetting rules, transparency standards, and stricter oversight for politically sensitive content. For a broadcaster that millions rely on for accuracy and neutrality, this moment could mark a turning point, not just for the BBC, but for how public media handles complex international issues. Still in the UK, a separate investigation is casting new light on the psychological grip of religious movements with global roots. Constance Martin, a former aristocrat who made headlines last year after the tragic death of a newborn, has resurfaced in an explosive BBC report that reveals she spent months inside a secluded church community linked to the late Nigerian televangelist TB Joshua. The report details chilling accounts of psychological manipulation, total obedience, and what some ex-members describe as torture. The facility, located in a remote part of southern England, operated in the same spirit as Joshua's Lagos-based Synagogue Church of All Nations. While followers believed they were on a path to divine truth, insiders described strict routines, emotional blackmail, and spiritual intimidation. TB Joshua, who passed away in 2021, was known internationally for his charismatic services and miracle claims, but also faced accusations of authoritarian control, financial secrecy, and emotional abuse. This latest report is reigniting calls for governments, both in the UK and Nigeria, to place tighter regulations on religious institutions that operate under charitable or spiritual status, yet exert extreme influence over vulnerable people. As the world continues to wrestle with truth and trust in media and faith, another story reminds us that sometimes the biggest threats don't come from institutions, but from outer space. NASA has confirmed that a 280-foot wide asteroid labeled 2025 MA90 will safely pass by Earth. Hurtling through the solar system at over 20,000 miles per hour, the asteroid will come within 4 million kilometers of Earth, a close pass in astronomical terms. Though not considered dangerous, scientists have been tracking the object for months and say it presents no threat, but still offers a valuable chance to study the composition, motion, and orbital path of a near-Earth object. MA90 is part of the Aten group, a category of asteroids that frequently cross Earth's orbit. Though this one is safely veering away, scientists are using it as a training moment to prepare for more serious flybys, including a larger asteroid named Apophis, which is expected to come dramatically close to Earth in 2029. NASA, along with global partners like the European Space Agency and India's ISRO, is testing defense systems from kinetic impactors to asteroid deflection protocols, all aimed at protecting Earth if one of these rocks ever strays off the course. Thank you for watching Alive TV. I'm Khadija Ibrahim.